here's a little highlight reel of last night's GOP debate.
Raise the retirement age a few years for folks that are in their 30s and 40s. I have a son who's in the audience tonight who's 30 years old. If he can't adjust to a few-year increase in Social Security retirement age over the next 40 years, I got bigger problems with him than his Social Security payments. And the fact is, we need to be realistic about this. There are only three things that go into determining whether Social Security can be solvent or not: retirement age, eligibility for the program in general, and taxes. That's it. We are already overtaxed in this country, and we should not raise those taxes. But on eligibility also, I don't know.
Think about...
Can I just say, honest to God, the fact that Krispy Kreme is not even polling right now, and they're letting him on the stage basically to just try to be an attack dog for Donald Trump. And yet, what does he go up there and talk about? We have to cut Social Security, even though everybody knows that there's two rules of thumb with Social Security.
It's a loser politically.
It's a loser politically. We're totally protecting Social Security and Medicare. So if Trump is saying it and he's at over 60%,
Christie's just literally being paid to be there to be like the foil.
So the idea that he's going to make those statements thinking that he's going to be winning favors. No, you know that there is a cap on taxable income of Social Security. You know who doesn't get taxed to pay into Social Security retirement fund? The rich.
Wait, but can we go to the fact that he needs some recommended reading? Has anyone ever suggested that he read something like, you know, The Deficit Myth? It's like the way that he's still sitting there and like people are struggling and he's harping on a fiction. It's a fiction. You know what? We need an intervention. He needs to phone a friend. He needs to call Steve.
Here is the person who definitely made quite an impression last night.
Oh, no, not Vivek.
Mr. Vivek.
Who's moderating this debate? This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate?
No, they'll hire
They wouldn't do it.
moron.
And so the fact of the matter is, I mean, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Ross.
Sorry. This is how we get our country.
That look of...
But here's the problem. But here's the problem is that these people, meaning this woman here, I don't know who that is. They are not running for president and they are not having a debate. And so the idea that he turned a question into a question to me is a sign of weakness of him. However, the points he made were very salient.
I won't
That's all I
disagree
can
with
say.
that.
Like the points were salient, but it's very weak. And again, I would say that until we go back to the League of Women Voters hosting the debates, they'll continue to be nonsense.
Vivek definitely ruffled some feathers last night, and there's more to come.
You have the likes of Nikki Haley, who stepped down from her time at the UN. Bankrupt or in debt was her family. Then she becomes a military contractor. She joins the board of Boeing and otherwise, and is now a multimillionaire. So I think that that's wrong when Republicans do it or Democrats do it. That's the choice we face. Do you want a leader from a different generation who's going to put this country first? Or do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
Let me just say.
I mean, Vivek, that takes a lot of balls, man. I mean.
Ooh, that was good, though. See, and I miss all this because you guys know I don't watch this crazy. This man in particular, I very much don't like. I want to put him in like a room with someone like Tim Black and just see what happens.
You know who he looks like? He reminds me of...
Don't say anybody I like or it'll ruin everything for me.
He almost...
Don't say anybody I like. Who does he remind you of?
He reminds me of the Burger King for some reason. I don't know why.
Burger King? The
guy was like with the
Okay, first of all,
I don't know.
You and I are of different generations in terms of what the marketing and advertising things were. But no, I just feel like I can't say what I want to say about this man because I'm white. But like if my friend Mo were here, she would have some seriously good choice words.
Yeah, they try to one-up each other in the worst possible way, but we'll play.
To every single university president in America, federal funding is a privilege, not a right. Number one. Number two, to every student who've come to our country on a visa to a college campus, your visa is a privilege, not a right. Number three, any campus that allows for anti-Semitism and hate, to allow students to encourage terrorism, mass murder, and genocide, you should lose your federal funding today, period. To all the students on visas who are encouraging...
That just say, I'm Apex bitch.
So you're basically saying unequivocally that, you don't even have the right to free speech. In fact, not only do you not, especially when it comes to Israel, but we will kick you out of the country. Like, that's how serious this is.
Well, why not? They're censuring an elected representative.
No wonder all of the true libertarian-leaning conservative polls that are out there have said that Vivek hands down won the debate last night, because you've got clouds.
He had some good zingers. I want to know who wrote that one about Cheney and
Maybe
Beals.
he thought of it himself. It's
also, I want to know what kind of shoes Nikki Haley's wearing that they're 3 inches. I'm just curious.
Jewish genocide. I would deport you from those campuses. We have to stand strong with our Jewish Americans. At the end of the day, we should not have our Jewish students in a library being told to hide on our streets in New York. A Jewish citizen has the right to walk on the streets of America with no fear.
I was the first presidential candidate to say, if you are here on a student visa as a foreign national, you're making common cause with Hamas, I'm canceling your visa and I'm sending you home. No questions asked.
The founding vision of Israel was based on the idea that they don't want to depend on anybody else's sympathy or direction in defending themselves. So what I would tell Bibi is that Israel has the right and the responsibility to defend itself. I would tell him to smoke those terrorists on his southern border, and then I'll tell him as president of the United States, I'll be smoking the terrorists on our southern border. That's his responsibility. This is our responsibility. That's how we move forward. But I want to be careful to avoid making the mistakes from the neocon establishment of the past.
As president...
Talk about overcompensation.
Oh my God, Lester Holt lost all his hair. That's all I can see right now.
He's halfway over the moon.
I can't believe that's Lester Holt. Oh my God. Yeah. This is how little I watch mainstream media, that I haven't seen him in like 10 years.
But Vivek is the one person on the stage who isn't going full blown. Oh yeah, let's go to war on behalf of Israel against...
It didn't sound that different to me.
No, it didn't, but
it sounded a lot. And that's pitiful right there.
Of the United States, what would you be urging Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to do at this moment? Governor DeSantis.
I would be telling Bibi, finish the job once and for all with these butchers, Hamas.
The first thing I said.
Finish the job once and for all against Palestine. That's what he's really saying.
It is, but what's so interesting, against these butchers, Hamas, you mean the ones that Netanyahu put there and funded? Because he didn't want to actually create a just situation.
But it gets worse.
Said to him when it happened was, I said, finish them. Finish them.
If you want to stop the 40+ attacks on military personnel in the Middle East, you have to strike in Iran.
They're talking.
Now, look, if we raise the retirement age a few years for folks that are in their 30s and 40s.
So that was it. But you get the idea, guys. You get the idea. That
they're like bloodthirsty war hawks.
If you thought it was bad enough that you've got the president of the United States saying, no ceasefire, never happening. Don't ask. It's not happening.
Finish them.
The GOP is letting you know, well, listen, the bridesmaids anyway. The bridesmaids are letting you know that this is not happening. The good news is that the overwhelming majority of what now constitutes the future of the GOP is not represented by the likes of Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley.
Thankfully.
People that are literally bloodthirsty to prove how much terror they can reign over the world.
How come there are none? But yet what's interesting is that what we're seeing in Congress is that any sort of anti-war sentiment, action, resolution is only coming from the GOP. Yet none of that is represented in their presidential candidates.
Correct. And at the top, it's also reflective of where President Biden and the like are.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.